It hits around 3 p.m. You aren't necessarily hungry, but your brain seeks that familiar hand-to-mouth motion and the satisfying sound of a crunch. For decades, the easiest way to scratch that itch has been a bag of potato chips. They are cheap, they are everywhere, and they deliver exactly what your body expects. A potato chip relies on a specific triad of ingredients: salt, saturated fat, and simple carbohydrates. This combination chemically short-circuits your fullness signals, triggering a fast dopamine spike that keeps you reaching back into the bag. If you are trying to clean up your diet, this presents a real problem. Cutting out savory snacks entirely leaves that afternoon behavioral craving completely unsatisfied. Recently, a challenger has gained traction as the ultimate chip replacement, Makhana, also known as foxnuts. We are going to evaluate whether Makhana actually works as a substitute. We need to see if it holds up mathematically on a nutrition label and biologically in your stomach, without forcing you to give up the crunch. This matrix puts 100 grams of potato chips against 100 grams of raw Makhana. For calories, Makhana sits at 350, while chips push 530. The driver is fat, dropping from 35 grams in chips to just 1 gram in Makhana. That drop in fat comes with an upfront trade-off. Because you remove hyper-processed seed oils, you lose that intense, immediate rush of flavor that makes potato chips so addictive. Looking back at our matrix, we see a massive shift in protein. Potato chips offer almost zero, but Makhana delivers nearly 10 grams of naturally occurring functional protein. Trading empty starches for functional protein completely changes how your body processes the snack. It forces your digestion to work, converting food into sustained energy instead of storing it. We also see an additional 14 grams of fiber alongside complex carbohydrates in the Makhana column. On paper, moving from potato chips to raw Makhana is a strict nutritional upgrade. You are trading a few seconds of immediate sensory pleasure for hours of metabolic stability. Nutrition labels only tell half the story. We also need to look at the satiety index, which tracks how effectively a specific food prevents hunger after eating. This graph charts blood sugar over time. Makhana's fiber and complex carbs create a slow, steady curve, physically delaying hunger. Compare that to potato chips. Simple starches cause a rapid spike, followed by a steep crash triggering immediate cravings. Processing all that extra fiber from the Makhana requires biological resources. You must actively increase your water intake while snacking to help your body digest it comfortably. You also have to adjust your expectations for the crunch itself. Chips have a dense, oily shatter, while Makhana offers a lighter, much drier snap. The real return on investment with Makhana is prolonged fullness. It actively prevents you from grazing on extra calories later in the afternoon. Most people don't buy raw seeds. They buy pre-packaged bags of Makhana, heavily coated in cheese powder or spicy chili flavorings. This mimics the snacks they know. Those flavor coatings do make it easier to switch. They bridge the gap between bland seeds and the highly stimulating junk food your brain wants. But let's audit those flavorings. This scorecard tracks sodium, added sugars, and inflammatory palm oils. Processed commercial Makhana immediately fails across the board. The oil used for spices adds massive fat, completely collapsing the nutritional gap we saw earlier. Because Makhana is marketed as a health food, it's easy to fall into the trap of eating the whole bag. Doing that with a commercially flavored brand will put you in a massive caloric surplus. Buying flavored, pre-packaged Makhana strips away the health benefits. You take a highly effective metabolic tool and turn it right back into expensive junk food. The guaranteed way to avoid the commercial trap is controlling the process yourself. That means buying raw Makhana and dry roasting it with your own spices. By skipping the industrial processing, you retain vital micronutrients like magnesium and potassium, and you maintain absolute control over the fat and sodium content. But this introduces real logistical friction. Dry roasting takes out preparation time you might not have, and to make it cost-effective, you have to purchase the raw seeds in large, bulk quantities. Getting the maximum health and financial return from Makhana demands proactive effort. A convenient store bag of chips completely bypasses that work, which is why they are so hard to quit. We know Makhana is the superior choice for your metabolism. But making it work for your lifestyle depends entirely on what kind of snack craving you are trying to solve. This decision matrix breaks it down into 3 distinct paths. If you are a volume eater who just needs to constantly crunch on something, choose plain or lightly salted home-roasted Makhana. You can eat double the physical volume of chips without the massive calorie penalty. If your goal is strictly optimizing macros, treat Makhana as a clean carbohydrate source with a built-in protein bonus. Just make sure you audit your labels and completely avoid brands using palm oil. If budget is your primary constraint, skip the boutique grocery store brands entirely. Your only viable move is to source raw fox nuts in bulk from international grocers. And if you refuse to do the prep work or buy in bulk, be honest with yourself. Buying a standard bag of chips and enforcing strict portion control is a better financial and dietary strategy than overpaying for a bag of heavily processed, sugar-coated Makhana. Swapping potato chips for raw Makhana will upgrade your daily nutrition, but it only works if you treat it as an ingredient you manage yourself, rather than a magic snack you can eat blindly.